as.
Okay. When I started, try to stop saying my goals in
It's all good.
my goal in working with the working.
Beauty of editing.
Yeah, I know that's great. Uh, my goal when I started working at the comic store was basically just to get store credit to buy comic books. As a 15, 16-year-old kid, I'd ride my moped into Bay City and work for a few hours on Saturday. I think I was getting paid like $2 an hour in store credit, and it was just a way to get comics without actually having to have a real job or pay for them.
Yeah.
When I bought the store, it was more straight for the business. Still in comic books and collectibles, and it was what it was a fun job, be your own boss, that kind of thing.
So how old were you?
When I bought the store, I was 24.
Um,
So when I bought the store, obviously it was to make money.
yeah.
It was a fun job selling comic books, Magic cards and stuff. Well, Magic wasn't out yet, but selling collectibles and stuff, and making a living at it.
At the time, what was your what was the big thing where like this is my job now? What was the moment where like this is my job now? Like I'm making money doing this, a living.
Well, early on, when we started in '94, I had a partner back then, which I don't now. I own the business myself now. We were putting in all kinds of hours. I was here 7 days a week. Open to close. Wednesdays and Fridays would be here till like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. So it was always, yeah, this is my job because I was putting in 60 hours, 70 hours a week. Not so much anymore, but when it's new and fresh and you're young and single and living with your parents, you can work 70 hours a week. But yeah, right from the beginning, it was making a lot more money in the '90s, so it was definitely that was my job.
When you started, you want your beverage or anything?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
When you started, how big was like the comic book industry, collectibles, selling that? How big was that in your life?
In my
Was it
life,
still a hobby, is what I mean to say.
no, I was a pretty big collector at the time. The thing with buying the store, once you take a hobby and make it your business, I don't know if it happens for everybody, but it happens. I know for me, and I know it happens for a lot. When you make your hobby your business, all of a sudden, I'm not collecting as much personally anymore because you own everything. And at first it's great. It's like, oh, there's this comic, I'm just going to buy this, or this statue came in, I'm just going to take it home, and you can get everything you ever want. And after a few years, it's hard to differentiate between my personal collection and the store collection. Because technically, it's like, well, how many people say, how many comics do you own? And I'm like, well, technically, about 150,000. How many do I have at my house? Maybe 10,000 or something, like that. But technically, I own everything here, and it kind of, once you're making your business and you have to sell stuff to make money, and that it does kind of lose its luster a little bit. You get a little jaded on things. And
Would you think you're still a comic book collector, or are you still a collector?
yeah, I do. I still take stuff home. I'll order stuff specifically for me. I don't collect. When you're a collector, let's say I'm a kid or I'm a younger adult and I'm collecting, like I'm gonna collect Batman, so I buy like all the Batman comics that come out, which is kind of a lot. Nowadays it's like, I can read them, and I don't even read that much. Everybody says, oh, you have a store, that's great. You probably read everything, and like, no, I'm running a store. Like, I don't read anything, man. I read like 10 books a week, out of the 100 books that come out. So I do still take some stuff home personally, things that I like, different artists and stuff that I like, but I collect a lot less now, just because it's all, again, I technically own all of this stuff. I just don't take it home with me.
Right.
You
can still look at it.
Yeah, I can still look at it. But oh, look at these awesome Superman statues. I own these until somebody buys one. I don't have to have it at home.
See, how do you just how you different between your personal collection and like stuff you order for the store?
My personal stuff, I've really had to focus down. Instead of just going, I'm going to collect all the Batman stuff, or I'm going to collect, everything that I like. Well, I kind of like this guy. It's kind of cool. I'll collect this, or I sort of like that series. I'm going to buy that. I sort of have to focus down and say, I'm just going to collect just Catwoman stuff, or just Uncle Scrooge, or just Michael Linsner artwork. Those are kind of my three big things that I really like. So instead of collecting, let's say, X-Men. Everybody collects X-Men. It's one of the biggest books, ever. I don't really need to collect X-Men anymore. I'll read it occasionally, but I don't buy it.
Right.
So I really had to focus and narrow down on like, I want to get just this, this, and this. Instead of collecting all Star Wars, maybe I'll just collect a certain character of Star Wars or something.
How many different stores have you worked at?
Just
You started
I mean,
working
like
cities,
like practically, I would say 4, but 3 of them were owned by the same guy. He liked to sort of move a lot, and he changed the name a couple times and things like that. But it was like the same owner. I worked at Comic Castle in Bay City, and then we moved further down on Midland Street. It was still Comic Castle, and then he moved across the river to Garfield, and it was called Comic Busters, which was like the most horrible name ever. But we bust high prices or something. It was terrible, terrible name. Until he closed up there, and then we bought Galaxy Comics. And so I mean, really, I worked for the one guy for a few years. He had other managers, like he was down in Flint, so there was other guys running the store. So I worked for 3 or 4 different guys, but but it was really the same. It was the same store, the same guy.
Now, you started as a kid, 15.
Yep.
Now you're an adult.
Yep.
Growing up, yet owning your own business, let's say you went through a big change. Does that any of that change affect your life? Like moving out of your parents' house, going away to college. Does that affect owning a business?
Well, most of my big changes happened after I bought the store. I mean, I went away to school when I went to Ferris, and then I was working at Dow for a couple of years before I got downsized there. That was all before I had the store. Once I bought the store, I got, in the last 20 years, I got married and divorced. I moved out of my parents' house with this girl. Got married, bought a house, got divorced, still have the house. Got married again, So I've done a lot of. There's been the big life changes and stuff, but it hasn't really affected the store that much. Because it's just my job. It's just what I do.
Besides comics, what other products do you sell?
We sell some action figures, Magic the Gathering cards, comic supplies like bags and boards. That's pretty much it. Comics and toys, and then a little bit of the gaming stuff. A little bit of like Dungeons and Dragons. A little bit of posters, statues. We can. There's so much stuff we can order. I mean, there's not even enough room to. We can't carry everything, But it's mostly comics and action figures.
What kind of stuff do you sell to keep repeat customers coming back?
That's all new comics, new books. People set up their pull list or subscription list, and they come in every week or every month. That kind of thing. Because each we get new books every week, every Wednesday. But let's say Batman, it comes out once a month. So if they only get Batman, that's only one book a month. But if they get like 4 different Batman books, there may be one every single week. Detective comes out one week, Batman comes out the next week, Nightwing comes out the next week. So yeah, to get the repeat customers, it's all the fact that books are, monthly products.
Can you go over your pull? You said pull list. Can you go over that briefly?
It's kind of just like a subscription service. Like you used to be able to subscribe to whatever X-Men comics and they'd send them to your house. It's the same thing here. You just come and pick them up. So new books come in every week or every month, and we just hold them behind the counter, and customers will get a discount on their books in the exact year, but probably 98 or 99. And then another store, he moved out to Shields, and then he just closed up this year. So, I mean, it's been 20 years, but we had 20 years where there was 3 stores, and now there's only 2 left. But it's the other store that's been in town has been open for like 25 years. I mean, they've been here for a long time too.
Besides comic book stores, what other competitions do you have to put up with?
Most of it is like eBay, online sales, Amazon, eBay, online comic stores, online, magic card dealers, online everything. The biggest competition's been, online.
Let's keep going together. So, going in on about when you started, the competition was other comic book stores.
It was strictly other comic stores, maybe a little bit. I don't even know if they still carried comics in like drugstores and stuff at the time, but yeah, it was strictly other comic stores. If you wanted